thought it might be useful to do a little critique just to, I don't know, just to see if it would be helpful to anyone else. So let me show you what I was looking at today. So here's a painting I thought was done. That was my last video. In looking at this, I realized that this lighter color here should be carried over to this side up close to the bottom. That there needs to be something right here to anchor this telephone pole, a little bit more of a dark color. And for some reason I added this unusual grayish color here, but what really belongs here is this darker red iron oxide color, because that's what the dirt looks like here. The other thing is this is a pretty boring road. This should be lighter. This should be a lighter gray. And then in looking at the clouds, I need to do something to make this look like it's further away in the distance. Gray it out a little bit, possibly even make it a little smaller. So this would look more up front and this would look further back, because it's kind of all the same. And you can see the clouds are a different shape, so that doesn't really look normal. And just as a reminder, the camera always makes everything look a little darker, and so this is looking a lot darker than it really is. It's the lighting in here, plus we've got this kind of rainy day. Yeah, those are the big problems, I think, with this painting. So this is another painting I'm looking at, and what just jumped out at me is this needs to be darker, more in tune with this, because what's up front is darker than what's in the distance. So this color needs to be down here and possibly even a little darker. The other thing is the water's kind of all too much one color, and this needs to be more distinct as being in the distance too. Otherwise, I do kind of like this painting, but those two fixes need to happen. Here's another painting that I painted about 5 years ago, and I liked aspects of the painting, and I felt like the water wasn't right, but you get to a point where you just can't think straight anymore, so I quit painting it. I do really like parts of this painting, but let me show you what I think should have been fixed. Now, some of these things I'm showing you, I may not mess with, but I feel like I'm getting better at recognizing, at least after I'm done with the painting, recognizing what needs to be done. This was a painting I did of Yosemite, and what I didn't like about this painting when I stopped painting it was the watercolor. I felt like it was a little too vivid. Otherwise, I did like it. But now that I'm looking at it, what I think is the problem is there's no evidence of any kind of a shoreline here. I think there should be some more tan, gray, brown, something like that to indicate the separation between the water and the tree line. What I did like about this painting is the variety of colors in the trees. Particularly right here, I thought this was nice. And of course, like everything, you always feel like if it turns out good, it's an accident. And I did like the sun coming in from the right and shining on these little bushes up front. Honestly, I'm probably not gonna change this one, but those are the things I think that should be fixed. And maybe a little color variation in here. Here's another painting I did that I thought was, at the time I painted it, I thought it was successful. This was taken at a farmer's market, and I thought I really wanted to paint those onions, and I wasn't sure if I could. So I was really happy with how the onions turned out. I think they kind of look like onions. But when you look at it, the composition's not really good, and no one's ever been interested in this painting. No one's ever said, hey, that's a great painting, so I guess I should consider it kind of an exercise. What's wrong with this painting is probably the composition, but the other thing is these little red onions don't really look like red onions to me. But it's still kind of one of my favorites because I felt like it was a success in regards to portraying onions. Here's another one. I find this painting kind of boring. I thought it would be interesting because of the boardwalk and the flowers on each side. But what I think's wrong with this one is the color of the pathway is almost too similar to this. This should have been more of a pale lavender, I think, or something else. I think I'd have to mess with it. And although I think the composition's okay, for some reason I find it boring. Now, some paintings I just like. I painted them for me. I painted what I like to see. No one else really expressed an interest in them. And to some extent, You can paint over and over and over again. You can paint a million paintings, and eventually you have to do something with them, because I've got boxes of paintings in my garage. What am I going to do with all these paintings? Are they going to sell? What do other people do? What do you do with all your paintings? And part of the problem is I guess I'm not out there enough. I need to market more conscientiously. I do have paintings that sell, and I've got paintings. I sell a lot of paintings at my open house every year. I think it's just hard to make it in the art business right now. These are two paintings that I personally really like. This one down here was a little landscape I did of Hart Park and the pathway. This is kind of a warm painting, and sometimes I think this maybe should have been a little bit cooler, but I'm not touching it because I think I'd mess it up. But I really like this one. I might just keep it, you know, just for me. I mean, because really I'm painting for me, right? This one is a favorite. It's more of a, it's a little bit more impressionistic, but I had a lot of fun painting this water and the rocks, but I like this one. My favorite paintings are the ocean scenes because I love the ocean water. The only thing I think probably I should change is the water at the very horizon. It looks a little bit too sharp. I just thought I would show you how you could possibly never be done with painting, because you'll always find something that could be changed. But painting is a learning experience, and every painting we make, we learn something else. Most of these I'm just going to leave alone and kind of remember how I felt when I painted it and what I was aiming for. But a couple of these I do think I'm going to change, especially this most recent one, because it continues to bother me. And I think some of those little changes that I mentioned would make all the difference. So let me know if any of this was helpful to you. Are you interested in more critiques? It's kind of hard to critique your own stuff because you're not as objective, but sometimes it's good to take a minute and see what you could do to make things better. If you're interested in more critiques or discussion of how to critique a painting, let me know in the comments. Happy painting!